Yes, guys, confirm me. Is my screen is visible to all?
Yes, sir, visible.
Whiteboard is also visible to all.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. So in last lecture, we'll discuss about the V model. So I will quick recall what we discussed in last lecture, right? So I will write here V model. This is our V model, and here the verification stage is we discuss verification, and here validation we discuss. Okay, and in verification, what happen? The development stage or the coding stage will happen in, and here the simultaneously testing will happen here, right? So first of all, we discuss about the information gathering stage and analysis stage, right, guys? So information gathering and analysis, and simultaneously here we discuss regarding what we discuss here. Then second part we discuss here. Kindly mute, guys. Please mute. So here we discuss test plan preparation, and then requirement of phase testing we discuss here, right? And simultaneously in second part we discuss here decision, no sorry, design and coding in verification, and simultaneously we discuss here design test cases, then secondly we discuss program phase cases, and then after that we discuss regarding the integration, or build here, and here we discuss regarding the sanity testing, then system and functional testing. Okay, so
Hello. Hello, sir. Voice is not clear. Not coming.
1 second. Now,
Yeah, it's
Yes, sir.
okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
okay, okay. Sorry, guys. So now in maintenance stage, what happened, guys? Please tell me. We already discussed regarding the maintenance. So how many types of maintenance are there after developing the software? Please confirm.
Two types, sir.
Yes. Which one?
BPO and KPO.
So what is mean by BPO?
BPO.
BPO?
BPO in non-technical
Yes. Business
business.
processing outsourcing, right? And second is
Yes.
KPO. So this is nothing but the knowledge processing outsourcing, right? So in BPO, there is the non-technical support we will provide to the client or the end user, right? After deploying the software or after completion of our software or our application, right? So in KPO, we'll provide the technical support to the client or end user, technical support, right? So this is nothing but the this will happen in the maintenance part, right? And this is the part of the verification process, right? So we'll discuss the verification process, right? So this will happen simultaneously. What happens in validation process? So in validation process, we start the user acceptance testing. So what happened in user acceptance testing? So we'll discuss regarding the user acceptance testing. It is nothing but the UAT. So user acceptance testing. This is the last part. So after that, our testing is done, right? Testing part and software development part, all part we done here. And after that, our software or application means get live, or it is able to use for the end user, right? After user acceptance testing. Okay, guys. So what happened in user acceptance testing? So tell me. So for the user acceptance testing, there are two persons are responsible for doing this. So there are V means tester or QA person, and the one person. So who is that person? So that is nothing but the client, right? So client representative also there for doing the user acceptance testing, right? So there are two persons are responsible for doing the user acceptance testing. So it is the last level of testing, and in this testing, it is done by the client itself or done by the tester in front of the client. So this is nothing but the user acceptance testing. So what happened in user acceptance testing? So what is the purpose of doing the user acceptance testing? So it will increase the satisfaction of clients as he is the part of the testing, right? Okay. And it gives assurance to the client that application covers the entire requirement given by the client or the customer, right? So that's why we are doing the user acceptance testing. And as the software has passed through different levels of testing, like integration testing we have done, then system testing we have done, right? So some minor errors can still be identified on at this level of the testing. So it is conducted by client before accepting the final product or the application. So that is nothing but the user acceptance testing. So everyone got this point, guys? Why we are doing the user acceptance testing? Yes, guys. My voice is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what happened? So it is the last. I am writing here. It is last level of testing. and it is the testing done by client itself, or we can say it is done by tester in front of the client, right? So what is the purpose of doing the user acceptance testing? So why we are doing the user acceptance testing? So it is the conducted by client before accepting the final product or the application, right? So it is increases the satisfaction of the client, right? So that's why we are doing the user acceptance testing, right? So I am writing here, it is conducted by client before accepting the final products of application, right? So why we are doing the user acceptance testing here? So it increases the satisfaction of the customer or client. So it is increases satisfaction of clients as he is part of testing, right? So that's why we are doing the user acceptance testing. So there are two types of user acceptance testings are there. So anyone knows which are they? Which are the user acceptance testing types of user acceptance testing? So no one knows.
Alpha or beta?
Ah, right. That's right. So there are two types of. So I am writing here types of UAT here. So there are alpha testing and second one is beta testing. So what happens in alpha testing? Tell me what happened in alpha testing. Alpha testing, it is the part of UAT, right? So tell me what happens in alpha testing. Anyone knows? Please, guys. So in alpha testing, what happens? So our means our organization tester will involve in the alpha testing, and plus the client representative is involved. Client representative is involved in the alpha testing. Sorry. Okay, and it is done in the within the organization, right? So in our environment or in our organization environment, within organization we are doing the alpha testing, right? So this is nothing but the alpha testing. So what is mean by beta testing then? So second level of testing in the user, uh, acceptance testing, that is nothing but the beta testing. So what happen in beta testing? Anyone knows? It is also the type of user acceptance testing. Okay. So in beta testing, what happen? So it is done in the, or it is performed in the external or user environment, right? So it will perform in the user environment. So it will perform in the user environment, right? And who is the part of this beta testing? So here the end user will perform the beta testing. End user perform beta testing. Anyone heard about the WhatsApp beta version? Anyone knows? Because some changes occurs in the WhatsApp version. So right now the WhatsApp will allow the users to call, the video calling is there, and recently the payment option are included in the WhatsApp version, right? Everyone aware about that? So before sending this to the end user, so before that the WhatsApp, what happen, WhatsApp will do the beta testing, right? So some selected clients or end user will select the selected by the WhatsApp, and in that, so there the beta testing will perform, right? And that end user giving the feedback regarding that beta version of that application or software, right? So is there any functionality is not working proper, and all that things will tell uh, telling that end users to the company, right, or that organization. So that's why the beta testing will perform in the user acceptance testing, right? Okay, guys. So this is clear to all. The what is mean by user acceptance testing, alpha testing, and beta testing. So there are two types, right? So next part, what remaining in the request for change. So what is mean by request? Yes.
Will you repeat one more time?
Which one?
UAT, sir.
Okay. No worries. I will repeat once again. Okay. So user acceptance testing. It is nothing but the, it is done before the client or the customer accepting the application, right? So in that, what happens, the our internal organization tester will perform the user acceptance testing, and also there is a client representative who is having the knowledge of regarding that product or that application, right? So that client representative also involved in that user acceptance testing, right? So this is the last level of testing. After that, we will not doing anything on that application, right? And this is,
Sir, does it mean we are getting feedback from the client?
yeah, we are getting feedback from the client in that testing after doing that, because
Oh,
we are
okay.
doing the beta testing as well, na? In our organization or in our environment, we will do the alpha testing, right? But what happens sometimes in our organization or in our environment, the application got means correctly perform all functionality and all that, but after deploying or after sending to the end user, so application got crash, and some bugs are found there, because something, what happens, suppose i'm I'm done the alpha test in that this uh, Google Meet, right? And after sending or after deploying this to the end user, so my mouse button is not working properly. So that happens in the beta testing, right? So that's why we are doing both alpha as well as beta testing. So after this is happen in the end user environment, right? So that will not happen So that's why we are doing both testing, alpha as well as beta testing, before sending or before before sending the application or the product to the client, right? And after done the alpha and beta testing, then and only then the client will accept the final product or application, right? So that's why this is very important testing, uh, and this is the last level testing of the our end, right? Hope this is clear right now, Priyanka.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Then next is RC. RC is nothing but the request for change. So simultaneously, uh, the request for change will happen, and the request for change will occur from the client side, right? So what is mean by request for change here? So in the request for change, the suppose the client wants to change some requirement for that application, right? Suppose client wants to change the logo of that color of the logo of that application, some module logo color, right? So that will mention in the request for change, right? Suppose if customer wants to change in his product at the time of release, right? So that is nothing but the request for change. The change in the product are mentioned in the SRS document, and in SRS document there is one section for the request for change, because SRS, who will prepare the SRS document? Yes, guys, tell me who will prepare the SRS document? Yes, guys.
Business analyst.
Yeah, business analyst will prepare for the prepare the SRS document. And what contains the SRS document?
All high level design specifications, customers requirement and user stories.
Right, right. So suppose in the after means in during the release time, the customer wants to change the that logo of that this suppose color of that mic button, right? Suppose here the color is orange color. Suppose customer want to change the color of that orange to the blue. So this will happen in the user acceptance testing and during the release of the product, right? So what happened in request for change? I will write here. If customer wants to change in his product at the time of release, that is nothing but the RC, right? So this is nothing but the RC, and it is a request for change. Also, it is the one type of document like SRS document, and it contains in the SRS document, right? So it is one type of document, and it will contain and sorry, not contains. It will include in the SRS document, right? Request for change, right? But what happened here? So this is the most important part in the request for change. Suppose customer want to change any module or any request for change. So for that, in the V model, this is the drawback. Customer have to pay some amount for request for change, right? Because initially customer already given the requirement, right? And on the basis of requirement, will doing the all the testing part, and will perform some testing, and will means we will build the software, right, according to the customer requirement. But at the time of release, customer wants to change the some modules, right? So at the time of that, customer have to pay some extra amount. So this is the major drawback of the V model, right? So here I am writing here. So for the request for change, customer or client have to pay extra money, right? So this is the major drawback in the V model, right, guys? So our V model is completed here. So anyone having doubt regarding V model, please ask. And after that, we will moving towards the agile methodology. This is a very important part in the manual testing, because while we are you are going to attend the interview. So in that, we have to say that we are the part of the agile methodology. So what happens, and what will include in the agile method? So that all the part we are discussing in today's session, right? So everyone clear about the V model? Please tell me, guys. Is there anyone having doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So before
It means
yes,
drawback of this V model is only customer has to pay extra money.
yes, but also different
Okay.
drawbacks are there. Adding new requirement at the middle of the process are also difficult in the V model, right? Because we are doing the simultaneous verification as well as validation. And suppose the customer at the middle, suppose he want to change something. So because in the already we have the SRS document, right? And in SRS document, all the requirement are mentioned there, right?
Right.
But suppose customer want to change some requirement, so this is difficult for all the tester as well as developer, because developer have to change their code. And after changing the code of developer, tester also have to perform different testing, right, according to the that changes made by the developer, right? So this is
Right.
very difficult and time consuming, right? So this is also the drawback of the V model.
Okay. It means it's same like fish model.
Right, is same like fish model.
And then
That
this V model methodology
yeah.
is this methodology used in companies nowadays?
Nowadays the 95% companies are following the agile methodology, right? Only 5 to
Okay.
6% companies are following only V model. Suppose there
Okay.
is no requirement change happens frequently, so in that case the company prefer the V models,
V model.
right?
Okay. Okay, sir.
Suppose there no complex project is there, so in that case also the company prefer the V model,
Okay, sir.
right? So this is the drawback of V model. So
Thank you.
yeah. So now we are moving towards the uh, agile methodology. So anyone knows regarding the agile methodology, what is mean by agile? So this is very important, guys. I'm writing here 5 star because in interview you have to say we are following the agile methodology only, right? So what is mean by agile methodology and all that stuff we are going to discuss uh, right now. So before that, anyone knows regarding the agile methodology?
So it is a software testing practice that follows the principle of agile software development.
Yeah. uh, Anything?
It is an iterative software development methodology where requirements keep changing as per customer needs.
Yes.
And testing is done in parallel to development of an iterative model.
Hmm.
Yeah. A test team receive frequently code changes from the development team for testing an application,
Okay.
and that's also.
So yeah. So let's see what is mean by agile methodology. So it is a one type of methodology like V model, fish model, and waterfall model, right? So this is the one type of methodology. So most of the companies right now uh, they are following the agile methodology only, right? So why they are following the agile methodology? What is means here special in the agile methodology, right? So that we are discussed in today's lecture. So what happened in agile methodology? So in V model, what happens? Suppose customer have to change the request for change, right? Suppose customer have to change some module or some changes in their application, right? So customer have to pay some amount that is extra from that which we'll mention earlier, right? But in agile methodology, the customer don't have to pay any extra amount because the customer or client is anytime or how many times means multiple times the customer have to means customer have the right to change the requirement, right? And at any time and anywhere or any stage of the development as well as testing stage, customer having the right to change the requirement, right? So this is the main advantages of the agile methodology, right? So here the customer don't have to pay any extra amount for that. Request for change. This is the uh, main advantage of agile methodology, right? And in other way, we can say agile is a iterative and incremental model, right? So what is mean by that? So agile is a iterative and incremental model. So what is mean by iterative and incremental? Let's see. So incremental. What is mean by incremental? Anyone knows?
Adding.
Incremental means adding the new functionality in the small part, right? Suppose I am writing here what is mean by incremental and we'll discuss. So here incremental is nothing but the adding new functionality in small part, right? And what is mean by the iterative process? What is mean by iteration? Anyone knows? What is mean by iteration?
Repetitive.
Right.
Uh, like parallel.
There are repetitive cycle means it is the repetitive and cyclic manner. So here the iterative means repetitive and cyclic manner. Suppose adding new functionality in a repetitive and cyclic manner, right? For example, I am giving one example. Suppose there is in our project there is a 6 modules. Suppose I am writing here first module, then this is the second module, then third module, fourth module, fifth and sixth. So this is my first module, this is second, this is third, fourth, fifth and sixth, right? So this is the 6 module I have to add in my project, right? Suppose here in first module having the login page, right? In sorry, sign up first, then login, then here home page. Suppose in home page there is a user id, page is there, password is there, and all login button is there. Suppose this is the having the 6 different module in my project, right? But in agile method what happens? So this is my whole project, right? So this is my whole project. Suppose I am considering this is my whole project. So what happened in agile method? So agile method break the project into the group of module. Suppose agile method take this 2 module in one group, then this second module in second group, and this third module in the third group. So agile method break the project into the group of modules, and that this phase, that grouping is nothing but the it is called as a sprint, right? So what is mean by sprint? We will discuss. So this is called as the sprint, right? Means what happens in agile methodology, we are following the sprint. Sprint is nothing but the it is the iterative process, right? There is it will happen or it will develop in the first sprint. Suppose it will develop in the second sprint and it will develop in the third sprint. So this is done in the agile methodology. Sprint wise delivery will happen in the agile methodology, right? So that's why agile methodology is very famous. Suppose in first sprint we'll write the code for sign up and login page. Also simultaneously the tester will do the testing regarding the login and sign up page, right? So in that the first sprint will get completed, and after completion of first sprint directly this will go to the release stage, right? After doing this all testing and all that stuff, right? Means we will delivering the project in module wise here in agile methodology, right? But in V model and in waterfall model what happens? In that process we have to wait for the completion of all the stuff, right? But here we don't have to wait. Still the home page and user id page uh, we have to complete. No, after completing this in the first page we have to release uh, that 2 module, right? So this is the main advantage of the uh, agile methodology. So what is mean by sprint? So what happened in the sprint? Suppose here first and second module get completed. So this is nothing but the sprint 1, and third and fourth module will completed in the sprint 2, and fifth and sixth module we will complete in the sprint 3. So this will happen in the sprint, right? So what is mean by sprint here? So anyone knows what is mean by sprint? Yes guys, anyone knows? Okay, I will tell you what is mean by sprint and what happens in the sprint. So sprint is nothing but it is the predefined time period during which specific work or user stories has to be completed, right? So that is nothing but the sprint. The duration of sprint is determined by the scrum master. So what is scrum master, that also I will tell you going forward. And generally the duration of sprint is 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 4 weeks. So it depends on project or depends on scrum master, because scrum master is responsible for sprint, right? So sprint is nothing but the it is sprint is a predefined time period during which specific work or user story has to be completed. So you might got question in your mind, so what is mean by user story, right? So that also I am telling you. So what is mean by user story? Okay. So before that I will write here the what is mean by sprint. So sprint is a predefined time period during which specific work, or in other word we can say user stories, has to be completed. So that is nothing but the sprint. And duration of sprint is generally in my organization we follows the 2 weeks sprint, right? And it includes holidays also, Saturday Sunday also include in the that sprint, right? Saturday Sunday and holidays also include in the sprint duration, right? So this is nothing but the sprint. So 2 weeks is nothing but the 15 days sprint, right? So in that 15 days we have to do the module wise work. Suppose in first sprint we take to suppose in first sprint we decide to develop login page and sign up page in first sprint, right? And also the tester have decided to write the test case regarding the login page and sign up page, and also start doing the whatever there are the testing which we have to perform. So that also happen in the sprint, right? And simultaneously the uh, developer will start the doing coding here, right? So that will happen in the in each sprint, right? Hope this is clear, guys. What is mean by sprint?
Yes, sir.
Here, agile, we can say agile is a module based methodology, right? Agile is a module based methodology. Why we are saying agile is a module based methodology? Because in agile, we are delivering the project module wise. So that's why we are calling uh, the agile is a module based methodology, right? So here we are delivering the project in module wise, so that agile is a module based methodology. So in agile the customer is very customer or client very important part because in throughout the application development and testing phase, our customer or client which are involved in the that methodology or that part, right? So that's why in agile we are giving the means we are giving importance or very much importance to the customer or clients, right? Because customer or client is very important part in the agile methodology. So that's why agile is a uh, we can say module based methodology, right? And it is also the value driven methodology. We can say in other words, agile is a value driven methodology. Why? Because we are giving the value to the customer or importance to the customer, right? So that's why we can say in other words, agile is also value driven methodology because customer or client is very important aspect in agile method, right? So this is nothing but the agile methodology. So regarding user story, I am telling you what is mean by user story, right? So uh, next feature of agile is the transparency is important feature in agile also because all members from the different department is working as a team. So that's why the transparency is important feature also feature in agile because as all members from different team or we can say department is working as a team. So that's why we can say agile is a transparent model, right? And customer already I tell you the customer or client is also the important part of the agile methodology or it is also the he is also active part of the uh, decision making process, right? And most important the changes are acceptable at any time in the agile model, right? So that's why the very famous methodology. That's why the every each and every company now using the agile methodology, right? So this is nothing but the regarding the agile methodology. So who are the part of the agile process or who is the part of the agile, who the all are the resources involved in the agile process. So let's see which resources are involved in the agile process. I will compare that resources name uh, in V model, what we can call in V model that resource, and in agile method what we call that resource, right? So let's see. So in V model, uh, we can call customer as a client or customer, but in agile method, cu- customer or client we can call as a stakeholder. So this is the nomenclature of the agile resources. In V model, customer can call as a client, but in agile, the customer is nothing but the stakeholder, right? And a business analyst. So in V model, the business analyst, or we can call business analyst. So what is the who will perform the role of business analyst in the agile method? So that person we can call as a project manager, sorry, project owner. So in agile method, The business analyst we can call as a project owner, right? Then next part is the BRS document, right? So what is BRS document in agile process? So BRS document is called in agile process is the project backlog, right? So the BRS document in agile method we can call it as a project backlog, right? Then SRS document. So what we can call in agile process for the SRS document. So it is nothing but the sprint backlog, right? Then functional requirement. So in agile method we can call it as a user story, right? Then release. So what is we can call in agile method for a release? It is nothing but the sprint, right? And most important here we can call as a project manager. This is nothing but the scrum master. And kindly mute guys, this is very important person because all tester, developer, team, testing lead are means reporting to the scrum master. It is very important person in the agile methodology, right? And in our organization because scrum master knows everything regarding the project, right? So this is very important person and chairperson of the that agile methodology, scrum master. So going forward, we discuss regarding what is stakeholder, what are the role of stakeholder, what are the role of project owner, what is mean by the project backlog and backlog, what is mean by nothing but the user story. So going forward, we will see that thing also. So before that, I am explaining the architecture of agile methodology, right? So what is the architecture of agile methodology? Right? So here the first we have the stakeholder. After that, project owner is there, or in other words, we can say product owner also. One second, guys. Please kindly bear with me. I am having call from my organization. Hello. Yes. उद्या कोणता वार आहे? गुरुवार का? शुक्रवारी भेटू ना. बरोबर. ओके ओके. बरं सांग मग जर उद्या जर भेटायचं असेल मग उद्या. हो हो. ठीक आहे ठीक करतो मी तुला. Sorry guys. Yes. So project owner also we can call it as a product owner, right? So other name of project owner is product owner. Then third one is a project backlog. The next stage is estimation. Then after estimation, there is a sprint backlog. Then user story, and last stage is test case design. So this is the architecture of the agile methodology, right? So first we have the stakeholder, then project owner. It is nothing but the, we can call it as a product owner. Then project backlog, estimation, then sprint backlog, user story, and test case design, right? So this is the architecture of the agile methodology, right, guys? So going forward, we'll discuss one by one what is the role of the stakeholder, what he did, then what is mean by project owner or product owner, then what is mean by project backlog and estimation. Up to this, anyone having a problem, please let me know. Clear, guys?
Sir, what is epic?
What is
Epic.
okay? So that is the term they are using in the Jira tool, right? Because for project management and what we can say, the bug tracking tool, the Jira, in that that term is used Epic. So going forward, we will discuss regarding Epic also. So right now, don't bother about that Epic, what is Epic and all that, because this is the part of the tool, Jira tool.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Up to this, everyone is clear.
Sir, can you please show the iterative, iterative, sir? Sir, can you please show the iterative model, sir, in your screen?
This one, na?
No, no, iterative, sir. Incremental or iterative?
This one.
No, no, sir. Yeah, this one, sir. Yeah.
This one. Yes.
Can you explain iterative, sir? One second.
Okay. So what happen in iterative? Iterative is nothing but the, it is happen in cyclic manner or repetitive manner, because suppose what happen, suppose in sprint one, suppose sprint one, this login and sign up page will done regarding this, right? So here our sprint one is end here, right? And next we start with our sprint 2, that is nothing but the, we start our next iteration, right? That is nothing but the sprint 2. So that's why it is called as the iterative or repetitive manner, cyclic manner, because after getting sprint 2 completed, we will moving toward the sprint 3, sprint third, right? So this process will happen again and again, because after getting sprint 3 completed, we will moving toward the sprint 4, right? So this is the iteration happening here, right? First iteration will develop the login and sign up page. That is nothing but sprint 1. And second iteration or second sprint will doing the home page or user ID regarding stuff, right? So this is the repetitive process or iterative process. So that's why it is called as iterative and incremental mode. Hope this is clear now.
Yes.
Okay. So first, we'll discussing regarding the stakeholder. What is mean by the stakeholder? So what is the role of stakeholder? So stakeholder is nothing but the customer or client, right? So in agile model, for customer or client, there is one nomenclature is there, that is nothing but the stakeholder, right? So stakeholder is nothing but the customer or client. So what is the role of stakeholder? So what is the role of stakeholder in the agile process? Because as we know that the customer having the requirement, right? So customer having the requirement, suppose customer having requirement regarding the, he wants to develop or he wants to create one app or one software, right? So also the stakeholder having the bunch of requirement. So stakeholder having bunch of requirement, right? The stakeholder having the bunch of requirement, and stakeholder is nothing but the customer or client, and it is also the topmost body part, topmost uh, member of the body in agile process, because uh, in agile process or in agile method, tester, developer, or team lead, everyone have to spoke with the customer on the daily basis, right? Because in my organization also, we are having the call, uh, daily call with my client, right, or the stakeholder. Because suppose I didn't understand the user story properly, so I am contact with my stakeholder and ask them to what is you mentioned in the requirement, right? So that's why the stakeholder is a very important person, because it is the member of the our agile process, right? And that stakeholder having the bunch of requirement, right? So this is nothing but the stakeholder. And at any stage or any time, the customer sorry the stakeholder can suggest the changes in the application, right? So that is also the duty of the stakeholder. So at any stage or any time, he or she can suggest changes in application, right? So stakeholder having the some user story. So what is mean by user story? So we'll discuss later. So stakeholder having the having bunch of user stories, right? The stakeholder having the bunch of user story, and stakeholder having the bunch of requirement also, and which is mentioned in the user story, right? So this is nothing but the stakeholder. So like in V model, the client having the lots of requirement with him. So like that, in agile process also, the stakeholder having the bunch of requirement regarding his project or his application, and it is the topmost member of the body or in the agile process. And the stakeholder having authority or having the means freedom to changes or suggest changes in the application or the software. And stakeholder provide the user story regarding the application, right? So this is clear, guys, who is stakeholder and what is the role of stakeholder in the agile process. Yes, guys, please confirm.
Yes, sir.
So this is nothing but the stakeholder. So second part of our agile architecture is, what is our second stage or second part?
Project owner.
Project owner, or it is nothing but the BA. It is work like a BA, right? So what is the work of project owner? So what he will do in the agile process? So project owner gathers the information from the stakeholder and gather user stories from the stakeholder, right? So main important part of the project owner or work of the project owner is to gather the information of the user stories from the client or the customer or the stakeholder, right? So the project owner gathers information from stakeholder regarding project, regarding application or project, right? So this is the first work the project owner have to do, and it is the project owner focuses on the business part as well as the uh, it is responsible for the creation of the project backlog and sprint backlog, right? So this is the second part of work the project owner have to do. So it is the project owner, we can say it is in short form PO. So the second work the project owner will do, so it is focuses the project owner focus on the business part of the application.
Sir, in agile architecture, complete architecture is different, like how others methodology has different architecture. It means information gathered by BA, and in this agile methodology, information is gathering by project owner. Yes,
Right.
it's completely different, na?
Yeah, completely different because here the name got changed now here, because in V model the BA will acting as a means gather information from client and the customer, right? But here
Mhm.
in agile method, what we are calling client or customer, we are calling client or customer as a stakeholder, right? And
Mm-hmm.
uh, for a BA we are calling BA here project owner, right?
Yes, sir.
So nomenclature is different, right? But working
Mhm.
some extent the same as a BA,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
So here the project owner it will focuses on the business part of the application, right? And also it is responsible for the creation of product backlog and sprint backlog, and also the PO will responsible for the creation of product backlog and sprint backlog, right? So what is mean by product backlog and sprint backlog? So we will discuss going forward. So this is the work of the project owner, and it is also the it is acting as a bridge, right? So it is acting as a bridge between the stakeholder and the scrum team. So what is scrum team and who is involved in that team, that also I will discuss going forward. Okay, don't worry about that. So this is the acting as a bridge between the stakeholder and the scrum team. because whatever the stakeholder will tell to the project owner, so that will deliver to the scrum team, right? In scrum team there will be the tester is involved, developer also involved, and scrum master is involved. Means testing team, developer team, and scrum master is uh, the part of the scrum team, right? So what is work of scrum master also we will discuss going forward. So the project owner is the acting as a bridge between the stakeholder and the scrum team. Like scrum team, in the scrum team the testing team, developer team, and scrum master is involved in the scrum team, right? So this is the work of the uh, project owner, right? And also the project owner holds the bunch of requirement, and he also explain the project to the team and the scrum master, right? So the work of the project on PO is PO holds bunch of requirement which is given by the stakeholder, and he also explain the project to team and scrum master. So this is the work of the project owner, right? So everyone got this? Is there anyone having a doubt regarding this? So what is the main
Can you please put the notes again so that we can just go through it?
yeah,
Thank you.
don't worry, I will send the PDF after getting class getting over. I will send in PDF format. Okay. So this is the work of the project owner, right? So everyone clear regarding this?
So, will we get a document or how he will explain how we know the requirement?
Yeah. So for that, the project owner create the document now, project backlog and the sprint backlog document, right?
Okay.
Right. Okay. So what is our third step in the that is our the third step now,
Project backlog.
right? Project backlog, right? So before going to the project backlog, so I will explaining the user story. What is mean by user story? So is the okay? I will explain the user story. Before that, what is mean by user story? Okay. Suppose assume that in user story, what we say. So user story, the stakeholder having the different user story, right? Or customer or client having different user story. And in user story, the uh, bunch of requirement the stakeholder will mention, right? Suppose I am having one user story. So in that user story, the customer requirement will mention. Suppose the title of that user story is to design. Suppose to design the login page for Gmail application. So that is the my user story title, right? So that is the customer want to design the login page for the customer activation, or stakeholder wants to design the login page for the Gmail application. So that is mentioned in the user story. The stakeholder will mention this in the user story. But so user story having the two parts, right? So user story is divided into two parts. The first part is the description of that user story, and second part is acceptance criteria. Okay, so what is meant by description? So here the stakeholder giving the regarding the user story description. So what the user story regarding, so this will mention in that user story, right, in the description uh, field, right? And in the acceptance criteria, so what will be the acceptance criteria to design that Gmail application or to design the login page? So that will mention in the acceptance criteria. What should the user accept? And while testing, what tester should accept the field, right? So that all the things is mentioned in the acceptance criteria. Suppose, so regarding that user story, this user story to design the login page for the Gmail application, so acceptance criteria for that is, so I am writing here, or a description for this, I am writing description for this user story. So what will be the description for this user story? As a user, I want to log into the Gmail application so that I can use the Gmail application. So that is the description of that user story, right? So that will mention in the user story. As a user, I want to log into Gmail application so that I can use Gmail application, right? So this is the description for this user story, right? This user story, this is the description which is mentioned in the user story, right? So what are the acceptance criteria for regarding this user story? So that also I will discuss here. So there are different acceptance criteria are there. Suppose first one is, so what is meant by acceptance criteria? So it is nothing but it is a predefined requirement that must met in order to make user story complete. So that is nothing but the acceptance criteria. So the definition I will write what is mean by acceptance criteria here. So it is a set of defined requirement that must be met in order to make user story complete. So that is nothing but the acceptance criteria. Suppose for this user story to design login page for the Gmail application. So what will be the acceptance criteria here? Suppose I am writing here, verify that user is able to access the Gmail system using valid username and valid password. So this is my first acceptance criteria. Then second acceptance criteria. So verify both login ID and password field are mandatory. So this is my second acceptance criteria. Verify both username and password field are mandatory. Then third acceptance criteria is suppose verify login button with will enable only when the user ID and password are entered. So this is my the third acceptance criteria which are all mentioned in the user story. So here I am writing third acceptance criteria. Verify login button will enable only when username and password are entered. So who will provide this acceptance criteria? The stakeholder will provide the acceptance criteria because the stakeholder wants to means in that application he wants to do this all the features are mentioned or all the that uh, page should be according to that acceptance criteria, right? So the that all acceptance criteria which are mentioned in the user story. So what here user wants? So user wants to verify the user is able to access the Gmail system using valid username and valid password, right? So second acceptance criteria, the stakeholder wants here the username and password field are mandatory here because no one no one should able to log in only by using the username and only by using the password because here in the acceptance criteria here clearly mentioned that by stakeholder both field are mandatory for logging the application, right? Username also mandatory here and password field also mandatory to log in that application, right? So the next acceptance criteria, suppose the stakeholder given us to verify that the user if id and password both are not correct, then system displays the message. So which message system should display? ID or password is incorrect. So that also mentioned in the user acceptance criteria, right? So here I am writing. So verify that if ID or password or either of them is not correct, then system displays message. Which message system should display? So ID or password is incorrect. Okay, so that all things are which are mentioned in the user story by a stakeholder. Hope this is clear, guys. Up to this, what is mean by user story? So and what it contains? So user story mainly contains the description and acceptance criteria, right? So according to that acceptance criteria and description, the testing team and the developer, so all we are doing the remaining part, right? So our first task is to understand the user story properly, because suppose we can't understand the user story, so will you able to do the testing? If suppose user story will not understand properly by us, so we will going to do the testing or remaining part. Yes, guys.
No.
Because we have to understand the user story properly first, right? So for that, in the agile meeting, in agile methodology, there are different meetings are happens on the daily basis and on the weekly basis, on monthly basis, or in a sprint. Also, there are different meetings are also happen. So going forward, also we will see the which meetings will happen in the agile methodology. So today we will stop here, and from tomorrow we will continue uh, the agile methodology.